Had your Greenote GSC50 quite a while and you're looking to service it? Then this is the video for you. Now don't forget, if you're using the video today, there are links in the description below for the best place to get those vacuum products. Make sure you check those out at the end of this video. Hi Kirby fans, welcome back to the channel. Now about 12 months ago I did a sponsored review of a Greenote GSC50 that Greenote sent me. If you want to check out that review, I will put a link to that video at the end of this one. Today what we're going to do is looking around 6 months use of this vacuum, and we're going to be looking at servicing and getting all that head cleaned and just showing you the general maintenance tips that Greenote recommend and the best way I've found to keep on top of that and keep it running efficiently. So let's jump into the video. Now when you first bought your Greenote, it would have come with a variety of tools. What you will have is a spare filter. You will also have this little tool here. So for those that are struggling to keep it clean and maintained, this is a great little tool to have. Also, while we're cleaning it, I'll jump over to some extra tools you're going to need, and then I'll show you the issues I've had with mine over time. And this is mainly just from general maintenance not being done on a weekly basis. Right, so the tools I use to service it is obviously this tool that comes with it for cleaning it. We can use a knife. Now the reason I'm using a knife and not a screwdriver, you need something really thin, and I'll demonstrate what this is for in a second. You've got a toothbrush or an old paintbrush, doesn't matter. I find a toothbrush works really well, and also a Stanley knife or a craft knife. So let's jump in, see what problems we've got with it, and I'll show you how we clean it and how we keep it maintained. Now look at the main unit. This all comes apart, so it's just a case of pressing that button there, tip and pull up, and off that comes. Obviously make sure it's clean in there. I'll show you to clean all that in a second. Now to take this apart, you're just going to twist and off that comes. This gives you access to the filter. Make sure there's no debris in there or any dust. There shouldn't be. The filter should have stopped it from getting in there. You've got your main filter in here. You can see that it's attached there, so it's just under there. So it's just a twist to the left, pop it out, and you can see we're a little bit grimy there. We'll put that to one side and clean that in a second. A secondary filter, what you might find is this is twisted a little bit and it's under these two little lugs here. So you're just going to get that twisted a bit. That way you can pop that out. Once you've twisted it round, just put your thumbs on either side, press against the side and pull that out. We've got access to our bin. Ideally you want to do this over some newspaper or paper towel. Make sure you wear a mask when you're doing it, or do it outside where it's clear, or even clean it with your Kirby. But you can get your toothbrush and just give that a bit of a clean. Once you've got most of that out, you can wash this out in the sink. I normally wash it out, get it nice and clean, give it a bit of scrub with a toothbrush as well, and then put that to one side and let it dry. Now the other option I like to do with mine is get a wet wipe, and this is just an anti-bat wet wipe, and just give that a nice clean. And make sure you set this aside to dry off once you've completely done it. What I find with the wet wipe, one, it's going to make it smell nice, it's going to sterilise it, so when you start the vacuum up, once it's all dry, it's going to smell really nice and clean and fresh. And we'll put that to one side to dry. Next up we've got our main bin. So again, empty this over your bin first. All we're going to do is flip that over. Got a little bit of dust in there. And just get your toothbrush again. You can do this over the bin. Get all those dog hairs out if you've got pets. Just get that with a Kirby. Now if your main filter, this does come off. Just make sure if you vacuum it with a Kirby, obviously hold on to that. So what I tend to do is to literally hold that on so it doesn't come undone with the Velcro, and we'll just attack that with a Kirby. Now this part here does peel off. So what you make sure you do, obviously don't suck that up the Kirby. I will vacuum this off with a Kirby and vacuum all this out, because you can wash these, but you want to get all that dirt and grime out of there first. Now you can do this with your cordless, but I find it's pretty pointless because you're sucking all that grime and dirt from that filter straight into the other one. You can clean this out with some warm soapy water and detergent. It's entirely up to you. Once you've cleaned it, let it dry first and then just reattach this after. So make sure the Velcro's on the outside and you've got this little hook tab there, and then you'll slot that back on once it's totally dry. We'll put that to one side and I'll get that cleaned with some detergent. Now with your main bin, just give this a swill out in the sink. It's entirely up to you, or just use some wet wipes, which I find again work really well, just to clean that bin, get it nice and sterilised. So this is one of my main hates about having a cordless vacuum. You know, they work sort of well for just popping around the home, but having to do this every couple of weeks does get annoying. And then set that aside to dry. So this is the part I've had a lot of emails about, and it's the main portable head and keeping it clean. So over time, if you've got pets, it's going to get covered in hairs. Also, if you've got other people in the house with long hair, you're going to have this issue. Now, this is really pretty easy to clean, and if you keep on top of it, it should not get as bad as this. Now, this has been neglected for a couple of months. It hasn't just been me using it. Obviously, when I use it, I try and clean it every time, but there's been other family members, and they just can't be bothered to clean it after they use it. They just think you use it and that's it. So with your brush, it will, like I said, get covered in dog hairs and human hair, especially if you've got people with long hair in the house. Now to take this out, you just push that across, lift that up, and you can get this brush roll out. Now if you remember when you first bought it, you got a little tool, and that's where this comes in handy. So what you want to do is hook it along there, and it's got a little Stanley blade, so it will cut those hairs straight through. And it's just a case of hooking them, like so, and then just pull those off. Now what you'll see is if the hair's been left around there too long, it will start to damage this brush roll. So make sure you do this weekly to keep on top of it. I've left it so long just to give a demonstration of how people normally leave it, and it will damage that brush roll. So hopefully that will come back. Also what we need to do is pull that off. You can get into here. So again, make sure there's no hairs wrapped around here, because this is going to restrict the bearings and everything else in there. Just pull all that off. Now with the main brush rollers, just give it a wipe. I like to use a sterile anti-bat wipe. You want to get that as clean as possible. Obviously make sure this is totally dry before you put it back in that vacuum. So make sure you've done your daily vacuuming first before you do this. You can see all the grime that's coming off there where that brush roll has been rubbing on the dirty floors. And then just set that to one side to dry. So the main one, especially if you've got dogs or people with long hair, is these back wheels. You can see this one's free because I have cleaned this. This one I haven't. So this is around 3 months use. This is where the household knife comes in handy, and all we're going to do is twist that round and just pop that wheel out. So slot that under there and just bend. That will pop out that one side, and you're just going to lift that out, lift it up, and out it comes. So as we push that pin through now, you can see all the hairs on this side of that pin. Pull that pin completely out. Remember, it goes in that way. Pull those hairs off. Grab your wheel, bit of a wet wipe, just give it a clean. Then we're just going to pop this back in that wheel. So pop that back in that bearing. Put it back in the same way you got it out. So that end's going to go in first. So push in, push down, that's slotted in. Now you're going to press down on there, and that will clip in place. So now it's spinning freely and easy as to clean. Now the hardest part is these. I couldn't get this to pop out. I didn't want to force it out purely because of it breaking. It looks like it does pop out, but I wasn't brave enough. So all I did was I attacked this with a Stanley knife, and what you'll find is all the hairs will wrap around that corner there, you can see. So this is where your craft knife comes in handy. Grab your craft knife, open it, lock it off, and all you're going to do is just get all the hairs from there. Keep your fingers well away, and just clip and hook. So you can see that all that has just come out from around that wheel. So it does pay to keep it clean every week or every 2 weeks. Now with our main head unit, you don't want to get this wet. It's not a wet and dry vacuum, it's just a dry vacuum. All I use either is the Kirby and a tough brush, just to get that nice and clean. And then what I like to do, like I've done with everything else, is just get an anti-bat wipe and just give that a real good clean. So with our portable head, both wheels are clean now, front and rear, both spinning freely. So it's been a couple of hours now, everything is dried, so it's time to reassemble it. So grab your brush roll, make sure it's facing the right way, pop that on there, like so. Then all we're going to do is slot it in there, make sure it's on that pin, let that drop down, and lock that in place. While you've got this apart, just give your head unit a bit of a clean. It's just worth doing it while you've got it fully apart and make it look a bit cleaner. So now back to our main unit, we're going to put the bin back together so the bin's nice and clean. Doesn't look that clean because it does scratch over time with the debris that gets in there. I will do a video on how to get this back shiny so you can see through it, but at the moment we can see through it anyway. Grab our secondary filter, both thumbs inside, slot your filter in. You can twist it a bit to lock in place if you want. It will normally do it when you put the filter in. Grab your new clean filter. So you will have a spare filter, so use that one. This is like a wash and dry one, so you keep a spare one that's clean, and then you've got the one that you use in your unit. Slot that in place, make sure this outer filter is on, and just give that a twist and lock that in place. Now with your main head unit, you're going to grab your main head unit, got a little line there, line it up with that unlock sign there, slot it in and twist, and that locks in place. To reassemble your battery and handle, you've got a little slot here. We're just going to slot it on there like so and push in. Right, so I enjoyed that quick service, and as I said, the Greenote GSC50, I can't really fault it. As long as you service it weekly, it works really well. I don't use it as my main vacuum. For carpets, I always stick with the Kirby because you haven't got the agitation from the brush roll for that deep cleaning and removing all those dog hairs. Now, for those of you looking to service your Kirby, check out this video next. And for those of you who want to see my full review of the Greenote GSC50, check out this video. So thanks for watching, happy cleaning, and I'll catch you in the next one.